If a stranger ever leans toward you in a crowd and says your ex's private pet name for you in their exact tone of voice, with their exact little pause and laugh, walk away. Don't joke about small world. Don't ask how they know that name. Don't give them a chance to say the next sentence, because the next sentence isn't theirs. It never is. And once you've heard it enough times from enough mouths, you realize something horrible. Your ex didn't leave. They just started using other people. I'm recording this because I don't know how much of me is left when a stranger starts talking like her again. So, yeah. Hi. You can call me whatever you want. That's kind of the point. She does. I had a normal breakup. That's what everybody tells me when I explain it. No police. No restraining order. No screaming fights in parking lots. We did 3 years. We did holidays. We did meet the parents. We did talks about moving in, and money, and kids, and all that grown-up crap you say when you're trying to convince yourself you're serious. She was controlling. I was avoidant. That was the official story. Her name was Lena. Is. I keep trying to say was, and my throat closes around it. Lena was intense. The kind of person who feels everything too much. Happy was too much. Sad was too much. Angry was too much. If she loved you like she had a timer counting down above your head, and she was trying to cram a lifetime into what was left. She had this phrase she'd use when I tried to leave a conversation, a fight, a room, her. Tell them I'm not done, she'd say. Tell who? I'd ask, exasperated. Whoever you're running to, whoever you're gonna go complain to, tell them I'm not done. She'd smile when she said it. Too wide, all teeth, like she'd discovered something about me she wasn't supposed to know. We broke up on a Tuesday. I know, because I got the "Are we okay?" text from my boss on Wednesday when I showed up late, and the "We should talk sometime" email from my mom on Thursday. And by Friday, my friends were already split into tidy camps about who was more dramatic. And then, on Saturday, a stranger said the phrase, "It was a coffee shop, obviously." These things always happen in coffee shops. I was in line, staring dead-eyed at a chalkboard menu, pretending to care about the difference between cinnamon swirl and gingerbread spice. I'd slept maybe 3 hours in total over the past 4 days. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lena's face the way it looked in the last argument, wet and red and furious, mouth open around words I didn't want to hear. You know the breakup mantra, right? You're doing the right thing. Just breathe. It'll pass. I was repeating that in my head like a prayer when someone behind me laughed. I didn't turn around. I heard chairs scrape, cups clink, milk hiss, normal sounds. Then a voice said, lightly, right by my ear, "Move up, baby. You're holding the line." I froze. She used to say that when I got lost in thought crossing a street. Same word, same rhythm, same laugh under it. It wasn't Lena's voice. Not exactly. It was a guy's, deeper. But the shape of the sentence was hers. I turned. The man behind me was maybe mid-40s, beard, suit jacket over a wrinkled dress shirt, tired eyes. He smiled slightly, apologetically, like he wasn't sure I'd heard him. "Sorry," he said. "Just you can move up. They're done ordering." I realized the barista was staring at me, waiting. I mumbled something, moved to the counter, ordered the first thing my eyes landed on, some kind of peppermint foam sugar crime. I paid. My hands were shaking. Behind me, the man stepped forward, and then, casually, he added, "Tell them I'm not done." I didn't breathe. The words slid in sideways. Wrong. They were at odds with everything else about him, his posture, his expression, the way he fished for his wallet. They hung there in the air like a cold fog. I turned around again so fast, I almost knocked into him. "What did you just say?" He blinked. I just said, I'll do a medium latte, to go." He was talking to the barista now, not me. His tone had changed, flat, automatic. I tried again. You said," he looked at me, Eyebrows up, polite confusion. Sorry, do I know you? His eyes were brown. Lena's were green. I stepped back. Nothing, I muttered. Sorry, I thought you were someone else. I took my drink and left. Outside, I stood with my back against the cold brick, replaying it. The laugh, the line, the exact way she used to throw that phrase out, like a little grenade in the middle of a conversation. Tell them, I'm not done. Coincidence, I told myself. People repeat things. Brains look for patterns. Breakup plus sleep deprivation equals paranoia. I believed that for maybe 8 hours. Then the next person said it. Day 3 after the breakup, I got on the bus home from work. It was one of those winter evenings when the city is just wet and miserable, not romantically snowy. Everybody was bundled in puffy coats and hunched over phones. I grabbed a pole, put in my headphones, queued up some background noise. It wasn't helping. My brain was doing that thing where every song is about you, every ad is about you, every stranger on the street is looking at you. Halfway through the ride, the bus jerked to a stop. A woman, older, climbed on, shaking rain from her umbrella. She scanned the bus, then made her way down the aisle, gripping seats as the bus lurched forward again. There were a few empty seats. She didn't take them. She stopped right beside me. I felt her eyes on me. I pretended not to notice. A hand lightly tapped my elbow. I tugged out one earbud. Yeah? She smiled, kindly, the way you smile at a scared dog. You drop this, she said, and held up my bus pass. I hadn't even realized I'd dropped it. It must have slipped from my pocket. Oh, I said. Thanks. No problem. She handed it to me. Wouldn't want you to lose your ride home. Her voice warmed on the last word, just a shade too soft. Her pupils seemed too focused somehow, like I was the only thing in the world. My stomach flipped. She leaned in a fraction. Tell them I'm not done, she whispered. I felt it like someone running an ice cube down my spine. It was her cadence now. Exactly. Lena's. The same little drop on done. The same playful threat under it. She straightened, pulled back, grabbed the pole by the door, and stared out the window like nothing had happened. I stared at her profile, at the worn lines on her face, at the way her shoulders trembled slightly with each bump in the road. Do I know you? I asked. She blinked, startled, as if noticing me for the first time. No, dear, she said. Sorry, am I in your way? Her voice was different again, softer, tremulous. A grandma's voice. We rode the rest of the way in silence. I got off 2 stops early. By the time I made it to my apartment, the phrase was bouncing around my skull like a ping-pong ball. Tell them I'm not done. Tell them I'm not done. Tell them I'm not done. I locked the door, double-checked it, then triple-checked it because that was apparently who I was now. I blocked Lena's number. I blocked her on every social, even the ones she didn't use. I deleted old message threads. I unfollowed mutual friends. I took down the one photo I still had on the fridge. I told myself that would be the end of it. It wasn't. It was the beginning. The first week, it was random strangers. A bartender, sliding a drink toward me, saying it right after asking if I wanted to close my tab. A guy at the gym, spotting me on a bench press, saying it like a throwaway joke between reps. A kid at the grocery store bumping into my cart, eyes going wide, mouth shaping the syllables with the wrong kind of focus. Every time, the same structure. First, something normal, something appropriate to the situation. Then the phrase, always in her rhythm, always like punctuation, always followed by confusion if I pushed. Did you just say, what? No? You okay? It never sounded weird to them, just to me. I stopped asking after the 6th time. It felt like asking the mirror why it was copying me. The second week, it got more specific. It was my coworker first. We weren't close. Desk neighbors. The kind of relationship built entirely on memes and mutual complaints about management. Her name was Rita. She wore big headphones and glitter eyeliner. We were working late, the office mostly empty. The open-plan floor was lit by only half the overhead fluorescence, everything washed out and shadowy. She swiveled her chair toward me suddenly. "You okay?" she asked. I minimized the mess of half-sent emails on my screen. "Yeah, just tired." She watched me a beat too long. "You've been weird since Tuesday," she said. "That's specific." She shrugged. "You came in looking like you lost a fight with a ghost. I figured either someone died or someone left." I swallowed. "Yeah, Lena and I are done." "Oh," she said. "Damn, sorry." She was intense. I said automatically, "It's probably for the best." I turned back to my screen, signaling end of conversation. Rita spun away. Then, casually, she added, "Did she still sleep with her socks on?" My fingers froze on the keyboard. That was a weirdly intimate question for someone who barely knew my birthday. I looked over slowly. She had her headphones halfway on, not quite over her ears. Her lipstick was smudged. Her eyes were too sharp. "What did you say?" I asked. Rita blinked. "I just asked if you wanted me to order food," she said. "I'm starving." Her browser window reflected in her glasses delivery app, little cartoon burger bouncing. I stared at her. "No, before that." She frowned slightly. "Before what?" "You said." I tried to remember if I'd misheard, if my brain had filled in a gap. "You said something about socks." She laughed. "Nope, that's on you." Then, more gently, "You sure you're okay?" I almost said no, but her voice had been normal in that last sentence. Rita normal, not Lena-shaped. "Yeah," I lied. "Just tired." That night, I lay in bed and tried to remember if I'd ever told Rita about the socks. About how Lena couldn't sleep with cold feet, how she'd pad around my apartment in wool socks and an oversized t-shirt, calling herself anxiety in a sweater. I couldn't remember ever telling anyone. The second time my coworker did it, there was no pretending I'd imagined it. We were in a meeting. Someone was droning on about Q1 projections. My brain was sliding off every sentence like oil on water. I was thinking about coffee, and then about the last coffee shop, and then about the man saying, "Hey." A folded sticky note smacked lightly into my hand. I unfolded it under the table. "You really wear that same shirt to every meeting?" It said, in looping, precise handwriting. I recognized the letters instantly. The curl on the Y, the way the question mark hooked too low. Lena's handwriting. My heart did a weird double beat. I looked over at Rita. She had another sticky note stuck to her own notebook. "Kill me now," underlined 3 times, little X face drawn next to it. She mimed gun to head, rolled her eyes toward the manager speaking. Completely normal. I looked back at the note in my hand. The ink was fresh. When I brushed my thumb over it, a tiny streak smudged. Rita had never seen Lena's handwriting. I knew that. I'd thrown away most of the notes years ago. I crumpled the sticky, stuffed it into my pocket, and told myself I was spiraling, because the alternative was worse. The alternative was that Lena wasn't just wearing other people's voices. She was wearing their hands. You ever have that thing where someone walks into a room and, for a split second, your brain supplies the wrong person? Like, you see your mom's posture in a stranger's shoulders. Your ex's walk in a coworker's stride. Familiarity scraped over a different body. It started happening every day. I'd be on the subway, watching ads blur past out the window, and my stomach would drop because I'd feel the exact weight of her stare on the side of my face. Not generic someone's looking stare, her stare. That specific mix of hunger and evaluation. I'd look up, and it would just be some teenage girl with AirPods, not even facing me. I'd be crossing the street, and someone's laugh behind me would crack in the exact place hers did when she found something genuinely funny, and I'd whip around, ready to see her, and it'd be a guy in a hoodie telling a joke. I stopped going to bars. I stopped going to parties. I stopped talking to people unless I had to. And the less I talked, the more she came through when I did. In Tenet, the therapist was supposed to help. You can laugh, I do. Sometimes. She was highly recommended. Sliding scale. Downtown office. Plants in the window. The room smelled like peppermint and printer paper. I sat on the couch and fought the urge to make 3,000 jokes about the cliché. So, the therapist said after introductions, tell me why you're here. It was both the easiest and hardest question in the world. My ex won't leave me alone, I said. That's very common, she said. Tell me what that looks like. She keeps talking to me, I said. Texting or calling? No, she waited. I swallowed. Through other people. Her pen paused for half a second. That's an interesting way of putting it, she said. Do you mean you feel reminded of her often? Triggered, maybe, by other people's behavior? No, I said. I mean they say things only she said, in the exact way she said them, and then they don't remember saying it. Ah, she nodded slowly, the way people do when they're putting on calm like a coat. Can you give me an example? I did. I told her about the coffee shop, the bus, the sticky note, the phrase. Her eyebrows twitched almost imperceptibly at, tell them I'm not done. It was subtle. If I hadn't been hyper-focused on every tiny human reaction, I might have missed it. Has your ex attempted to contact you directly? She asked. Not since the breakup, I said. Not on her number, anyway. I blocked her. Has she ever shown any history of stalking? Possessiveness? I laughed once. Sharp. We used to joke about it, I said. She'd say she was healthily obsessed with me. I thought it was romantic. She knew my passwords, my schedule, all my friends. We were entangled. And how did things end? She asked. I looked at the plant in the corner. Its leaves had dust on them. She cried, I said. Then she laughed. Then she went very quiet. She said, tell them I'm not done. And I walked out. Has she made any threats? The therapist pressed gently. To hurt you? Hurt herself? She used to say she'd never let me go, I said. If that counts, the therapist wrote something down. Sometimes, after intense relationships, she said carefully, our brains stay in contact loops. We hear them in our heads long after they're gone. Brains are predictive machines. They fill in gaps, supply likely responses. That can be very distressing, especially if... Her voice trailed off. Her eyes were no longer on me. They were fixed on a point just above my shoulder, like she was watching someone stand behind me. My skin went electric. Especially if what? I asked. The room felt smaller suddenly, the air thicker. Her hand, resting on her notebook, tightened around the pen. When she spoke next, her tone was different. Not the calm, practiced cadence of a therapist. Higher. Sharper. Mine. Do you tell them about the socks? She asked. The world narrowed. Every sound in the room, incinerated in one blast of adrenaline. I heard my heart slam against my ribs. I heard the faint hum of the building's HVAC. I heard Lena's voice in the therapist's mouth. Or about how you said you'd stay until spring, she went on. Same, not quite her voice. How you promised you wouldn't leave before her brother's wedding? Did you tell them that part? My tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth. Stop, I whispered. She blinked. Her expression reset, like a screen refreshing. Sorry, she said. What were we talking about? My throat closed. What did you just say? I croaked. I was talking about predictive loops, she said calmly, back in therapist mode. And how the brain recreates conversations. Sometimes we attribute our own intrusive thoughts to an external source. It can feel like someone else is speaking. It's a very common dissociative response to, I was already on my feet. I have to go, I said. She frowned. We still have 20 minutes. I don't care. I left. She didn't try to stop me. Later, she called, left a voicemail. I couldn't bring myself to listen to it. 17. There's this thing that happens when someone hurts you badly enough. You start to believe they have power, even when they don't. Like, rationally, I know Lena is just a person, was just a person. We're all just meet in varying arrangements. No one is magic. No one lives under your skin rent-free unless you let them. That's what they say, right? They can't hurt you anymore if you don't let them. Tell that to the part of my brain that flinches every time a stranger laughs in her rhythm. Tell that to whatever sat behind my therapist's eyes for 5 seconds and used her mouth like a glove puppet. Tell that to the thing that followed me home after that session. Because if it was just my brain misfiring, it wouldn't have changed her. RZ. The text came that night. Not from her number, obviously. From a new one. Random. Unknown. Local area code. I was on the couch. I'd left the TV on for background noise. Some endless true crime show where husbands kept killing wives, and everyone kept saying they never saw it coming. End quote. My phone buzzed. Unknown. You tell them about me? I stared at it until the screen dimmed. Blocked the number. 5 minutes later, another buzz. Unknown. Rude. I turned my phone off. An hour later, my laptop pinged. A notification slid up in the corner. New message request. On a platform I barely used. An account I'd forgotten I had. The profile picture was blank. The name was nothing literally. Message. Baby, you there? I slammed the laptop shut. The apartment suddenly felt too small. The walls too close. I could feel her, somehow, pressing up against the edges of my life, like fingers probing for cracks. I did the stupid thing. The human thing. I said her name. Lena. I whispered into my empty living room. If that's you, stop. Silence. Then, through the wall, my neighbor's voice floated, muffled by plaster. Tell them, she said, in a tone that punched the air out of my lungs. I'm not done. She was on the phone, maybe, having her own conversation, saying her own unrelated sentence. Or she wasn't. Or she was never alone in that apartment any more than I was in mine. I turned on every light I could reach. I sat in the middle of the room and hugged a pillow like it could stop sound. You can't block someone who isn't using their own number anymore. You can't ghost someone who lives in every throat around you. Is standard. You want to know the worst part? It's not that I keep seeing her in other people. It's that other people keep seeing me in her. The first time it happened, I was in a grocery store checkout line. I hadn't slept much. I'd been living on microwave meals and caffeine and fear. The cashier scanned my stuff without looking at me. Paper or plastic? He asked. Reusable, I said automatically, and handed over my bag. Nice. Save the planet, he said. Rewards card? I shook my head. He looked up at me then, right into my eyes. And for a second, one sharp, bright second, his expression changed. Not the bored politeness of a retail worker, not the slight distance of a stranger. Recognition. Found you, he murmured. Every hair on my body stood up. What? He blinked, and the look was gone. Cash or card? He asked. My voice didn't work on the first try. Card. I managed. I left half my groceries on the conveyor belt. The second time, a child did it. I was cutting through a park, trying to convince myself I could still be a person who touched grass sometimes, when a little girl on a swing stared at me as I passed. Her eyes tracked me like a cat's. Her mother sat on a bench nearby, scrolling her phone. The girl's lips moved. I couldn't hear her over the crunch of gravel under my shoes, but I saw the shape. Tell them, I'm not done. I kept walking. Lena? She called. Not to me. To her mother, maybe. To someone behind me. But the way her mouth wrapped around the name was too familiar. I didn't look back. Because here's the thing. Nobody tells you about being stalked through other people. It doesn't matter if it's real. It doesn't matter if there's a ghost hitchhiking in strangers' nervous systems. Or if I'm just carving her face into every passing expression. The effect is the same. You stop trusting anyone's mouth but your own. You stop believing that words belong to the people saying them. You start hearing your ex in the pauses between syllables, like a backing track under conversation. And slowly, you stop using your mouth, too. Which is, I think, what she wants. Leapers. I moved apartments. Of course I did. Packed up my life into cardboard and tape and dragged it across town to a building with thicker walls and fewer neighbors. New bus route, new grocery store, new coffee shop, new opportunities, I told myself, for my brain to stop associating every brick with her. The first night in the new place, I sat on the floor among boxes and listened. No footsteps from above, no bass through the walls, no neighbors' TVs, just my own breath. It didn't last. Day 3. The guy delivering my bed frame leaned the box against the wall, wiped his hands on his jeans, and said, "That should do it." "Thanks," I said. "Sorry, it's such a mess. I just moved in." He nodded, eyes scanning the half-unpacked chaos. "New start, huh?" he said. "Something like that." He hesitated. His face shifted. It's the shift that gets me now. That moment where someone you're talking to slides sideways, like a radio tuning through static and landing briefly on another frequency. His eyes sharpened. He glanced past me, into the apartment, and smiled. "Home looks good on you," he said, in Lena's exact tone. "Don't run off before we finish unpacking." I stepped back until my spine hit the wall. "Get out," I whispered. He blinked. "You okay?" he asked. "You look like you're gonna pass out." "Get out." He raised his hand slowly, exaggeratedly, like someone calming a dog. "Hey, I'm going. Take care, yeah?" He backed into the hall, brow furrowed. "Feel better." The door shut behind him. I slid down it, sat on the floor, pressed my forehead to my knees. In my pocket, my phone buzzed. Unknown. Nice place. I turned it off. And you're probably asking why I don't change my number. Why I don't delete every account, move to the woods, go fully offline, become a myth myself. Here's the thing. She's not in my phone. She's in people. And people are everywhere. You can ditch devices. You can't ditch the fact that you share a planet with 8 billion mouths. Believe me, I've tried to hide in smaller and smaller spaces, physically and mentally. I've tried to shrink my world down to just my room, my bed, my own head. That's when it got worst. Because once she realized I was done going out, she started coming in more directly. Sometimes I wake up with my phone in my hand, a message half-typed to her old number. Sometimes I find sticky notes on the fridge in handwriting that's half mine, half hers. Sometimes I catch my reflection in the microwave door, and my face is wrong. For a second, jaw tilted at her angle, smile too wide. It's like being slowly overwritten, line by line, phrase by phrase, in a mender. You're probably wondering why I'm telling you this, why I'm turning it into a story instead of calling a priest, or a paranormal investigator, or a neurologist, or, I don't know, an exorcist for exes. There are 2 reasons. 1. Because I am so incredibly tired of hearing her through other people and not saying anything back. This is the only way I can talk about her now without her hijacking the conversation. Alone in front of a blinking cursor, alone with a microphone, alone with you, whoever you are, in whatever dark room you're in, with whatever screen you're staring at because you couldn't sleep and you needed something scary to drown out your own thoughts. 2. Because someone else already tried to warn me. Remember that thread I mentioned? The one about the wrong feeling advent calendar? The one that disappeared? There were comments under it. I only remember one clearly. I wish I'd screenshotted it. I wish I'd done anything other than scroll past, roll my eyes, and go back to my own life. It said, if it's showing you stuff ahead of time, warn people, duh. So, here I am, warning you. Because this thing she's doing, it's not just about me anymore. It's about anyone who's ever let someone stay too long in their head after they left the room. It's about anyone who's ever heard their ex's voice in their own self-hatred and called it intuition. It's about anyone who's scrolled so far back in old messages that the app asked if they were okay. She's using me as a pilot program, I guess. A test case, seeing how far she can spread. Every time a stranger says her line to me, I feel something drain. Like she's pulling more of herself into the world through them. Through me. And I think I've finally figured it out. It's not that she's stalking me through people. It's that she's stalking people through me. She's in my memory, my language, my nervous system. She knows exactly which phrases will land where. She knows how to twist that tiny, familiar knife in your gut. If she can get me to tell this story just right, if she can get me to put the words in your ears in the correct order, with the correct cadence, then when someone in your life says something like it, it won't sound completely new. It'll sound like a memory, like recognition, like someone coming home. So, if you're hearing this on a night when you're up too late, and the room is dark except for your screen, and your eyes are burning, and you've got that weird lonely ache in your chest people get in the small hours, listen to me. If a stranger says your name exactly the way your ex used to say it, leave. If a barista leans in and whispers a phrase only one person in your life ever said to you, don't laugh. Don't ask them how they knew. If a child mouths words at you you've never told them. If your therapist's voice cracks on a sentence that shouldn't hurt, and suddenly it does because you've heard it before from the wrong mouth, don't rationalize it away as holiday stress, or coincidence, or your brain being quirky. Don't say, it's only memory. It's only my trauma. It's only my imagination. Because it isn't. It's a door. And some doors don't care if you walk through them. They care that you stand close enough for them to reach through you. If someone, somewhere, sometime, tilts their head and looks at you with a focus that isn't theirs, and says, lightly, like a joke, tell them I'm not done. Don't ask who them is. You already know. And if your mouth answers on its own, before you can stop it, if you feel the words rising in your throat for someone else, run.